Joe Burrow told ESPN that he doesn't see the Bengals as a championship-level team the way they're built. Burrow said, oh, this is going to be interesting. Burrow said, it's frustrating to see the team not perform at a high level. They should be after collapsing in week 5 versus the Ravens. Jamar Chase said to not blame Burrow on his costly fourth quarter interception. Why would he bring that up if he's not blaming him? Saying he ran a horrible route. Chase also called out the Bengals offense for their red zone issues in overtime, calling 3 straight run plays. Sounds familiar. Instead of getting the ball to their playmakers. Tee Higgins also said he wished the Bengals were more aggressive on the offense, in overtime to make it more makeable when it comes to a field goal. The Bengals offense this season is scoring 2.94 points per drive, the highest in franchise history since 2000. The Bengals defense is allowing 2.73 points per game, the worst in franchise history since 2000. The Bengals fall to 1-4 after blowing a 38-28 lead with under 6 minutes to go versus the Ravens. The Ravens did not have a good game. They did not play well. Their defense, which is another defense that everybody thought was going to be world beaters this year. World beaters. I thought with the talent they added Queen to, I'm sorry, not Queen. I'm sorry. They added a tremendous amount of defensive help. They did lose Queen. He went to Pittsburgh in the offseason. But nevertheless, they added some optional defensive players, and they're still a very good defense, a high volume defense. And this year, for some reason, early so far this season, their secondary disappears in the second half. And obviously, their offense with Zay Flowers and all these other weapons that they added in the offseason are not as good as we thought they were going to be this year, especially after watching the first game of the season against Kansas City. Zay Flower had a touchdown, but he has not been the explosive player I thought he was going to be. That's why I drafted him in the second round or third round in one of my leagues. I thought he was going to be very explosive, one of the elite wide receivers, top 10 wide receivers. Joe Burrow, here's the problem, and the Bengals have a lot of issues. And I know everybody wants to blame the coaching, and maybe it's time for a new voice in the locker room. It could be. It could be. But the fact that Jamar Chase didn't get his contract before the season started, that caused a lot of problems. I mean, he didn't get a chance to practice really with the team in the offseason. He didn't have much of a preseason because he was sitting out because he had his panties up in a bunch. That's the truth. The fact that Joe Burrow, coming off a significant injury and missing almost the whole season last year, and everybody says, when he goes out one season, he comes back and he's a world beater. And everybody says it's every other year. Joe Burrow's been in the league for what? This is his 5th year, 6th year? 5 years. If you look at his career, he's great one year, he gets hurt another year. He's great one year, he gets hurt another year. This is the year that he comes back and he's supposed to be a world beater. And Tee Higgins started the season on the injured reserve, and this team lost. And I'm going to say this. I didn't think it was going to be a big problem. Joe Mixon going to the Texans in the offseason. I didn't think that was going to be a big problem because I thought, hey, you know what? You could put a running back in that position with this offense. They're still going to find a way to win. They have not been the prolific offense they were when Joe Mixon was there. And losing Joe Mixon, I'm not a Joe Mixon fan because the guy never stays healthy. I've drafted him in my fantasy leagues many, many times, and the guy can never stay fully healthy for a season. So I'm not a big Joe Mixon fan. But when he is in the offense, he opens up many different lanes. And when you have a running back that can open up lanes and you got to concentrate on that power back, it opens up the lanes on the outside for Jamar Chase, Tee Higgins. And then, by the way, they lost, valuable wide receivers in the offseason too. One of them went to the Titans. So unfortunately, this team thought with Tee Higgins and Jamar Chase, that would be enough. That would be enough to get this team into the playoffs and maybe make a run. And it's just not. And this defense looks old. They can't stay healthy, and they look old. And again, there's no excuses when you have a great quarterback that's making $55 million. Joe Burrow is one of the top 3 highest paid quarterbacks in top 4 now because of Dak. Top four quarterbacks in the NFL when it comes to being paid. And here we're going to go again when it comes to these quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence being another one. Now, he's better than Trevor Lawrence because he's done more than Trevor Lawrence. He actually played in a Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence got paid $55 million in the offseason. Trevor Lawrence has been in the league for 4 years. What has he done for 4 years to earn $55 million? These quarterbacks are getting overpaid. And then when they get their money, and I'm not saying this is going on with Joe Burrow, but when they get their money, they're not the same player. We've seen so many players get the money in the offseason, the money that they want. And some of them they don't care anymore. They don't play as hard. Now, again, I don't believe that to be with Joe Burrow. But the players around him, Tee Higgins don't have his contract. Jamar Chase don't have his contract. Now, when you know you don't have your contract, even though you're playing for one, you're thinking in your head, this team doesn't believe in me. This team doesn't trust me. This team is not going to give me the money, and I'm going to have to prove it to all the other teams that I'm playing against. And then he's going out there trying to make plays that he shouldn't be going out there to try to make. Because why? They're trying to get that money. Do you blame these players? I don't. I do not blame Tee Higgins or Jamar Chase when they're trying to go out there week in and week out now trying to earn their money. And I blame that on the Bengals. Because if the Bengals figured this out last year, because in my opinion, I would have given Tee Higgins his money last year. I would have. I would have paid him last year, and I would have paid Jamar Chase this year. Whatever you're going to do with it, Hendrickson or whatever, whoever you're going to decide that you're going to part ways with. Because look, a lot of these defensive players are not having the season they were supposed to have. So then, knowing that they're not going to have the seasons that they were supposed to have this year, you part ways with them in the offseason. You give Jamar Chase his contract, and then you go into the draft and you look for the defensive player that's going to fill into that position. That's what I would have done if I was the coach or the GM. And I'm not the coach and the GM. I will say this. Jamar Chase is not a top 5 wide receiver. I don't care what anybody says. He's not. He's a top 10, top 7. He's not a top 5 wide receiver because he doesn't do it game in and game out. You want to be considered a top 5 wide receiver, you got to go out there week in and week out and put up those numbers. With the contract or not with the contract, you got to go out there and prove it. He has not done that. He has not done that. As far as the Ravens are concerned, the Ravens got to figure something out here. They got to figure this out. Because this team was supposed to be considered the second best team in the league. I mean, everybody thinks the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. Some people thought, hey, the Ravens, Chiefs. This was going to be the AFC title game. I don't see it. The Ravens have, obviously, a lot of problems with whatever's going on in their offense. Derrick Henry's running the ball like crazy. I love what I see with Derrick Henry. What a great pickup. What a great pickup by the Ravens. But everybody else is not playing. Zay Flowers is not playing. He had a decent game yesterday, but he saw the ball like 10 or 11 times. If he doesn't see the ball 10 or 11 times, is there going to be a problem? It looks like there will be. There's no depth. None. And if you have no depth, I know the Chiefs have the NFL on their side, so depth or no depth, they're gonna get a chance to win those games. We're gonna watch tonight against the Saints. They're gonna have a chance to win the game. Why? Because the NFL wants to see them win. But right now, what you see with the Ravens and the Bengals, and even Pittsburgh losing against the Cowboys last night after that rainstorm. And by the way, Dak Prescott is the first quarterback in NFL history to score a touchdown one day and a touchdown in the other day in the same game. He's the first quarterback to ever do that. The game obviously started at 9:45. He scored a touchdown at like early in the game at like his first touchdown was like at 10:20. And then he scored his final touchdown after 12 o'clock. He's the first quarterback in NFL history to do that. Just so everybody knows. It's not not a big thing. But
No, it's just an obscure scat. It also applies for an interception too.
Yeah, I know, but it is pretty funny that he's the first player to ever do that in NFL history. I mean, the NFL's been around forever, and that's never happened before, so that's crazy. But then again, even Pittsburgh showing their not showing up to a big game on Sunday Night Football in a game that if they won, I mean, they look like they're going to run away with the AFC North. I mean, it's still early, and I know everybody's going to say it's only 5 games in, but you see the pace of the league and in each conference and even each division on where everything is going. But right now, it's so confusing because Buffalo looks like, for the first 3 weeks, they're unbeatable. And then in the last 2 weeks, they can't buy a win. They lose against the Texans. They lose against Lamar Jackson on Sunday Night Football. And then they're on a 2-game losing streak. And then Pittsburgh looked like they were a world beater. They were 3-0, and they looked like they're running away with the division. And then they lose against the Cowboys. I think they lost 2 games in a row.
They lost to the Colts last week.
They lost to 2 teams they should have beaten. And now the Bengals started the season so weak, and everybody thought after winning last week, they're going to figure it out and they're going to get back on the horse and they're going to run. They're going to figure it out and they're going to make the playoffs and they're going to make a run for a Super Bowl. They're 1-4. They look like they're out. They're done. Wave the flag. It's all these teams, and you know what? The teams that nobody would have thought. The Broncos. I mean, come on. The Broncos, the Denver Broncos, Bo Nix's Denver Broncos. Look at where they are. I mean, seriously, the Chargers? Who would have thought that the Chargers would be right now in a playoff spot?
Mm-hmm. All right, Keith, you got 5 minutes. We have a guest that's going to be coming in very soon.
Oh, okay. Hey, well, you overrate the Steelers, man. They're not that good. Who do they beat? You know what I mean? They're not bad, but they got a long way to go. Defensively, they're really good.
There's no great team right now in the AFC.
It's weird.
There's no great team.
Got really weak. Dallas is better than Pittsburgh. I'll tell you that right now. They're both teams.
Well, because Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than
not because Dak Prescott. And
you're not going to give Dak Prescott any credit for what he did last night.
No, he played good. He played all right. He didn't play great. He played all right.
He doesn't have as many as weapons. You texted me last night.
Listen. He has a lot more weapons than I thought.
Who?
Kyle, but both their receivers play good. The other receivers besides Lamb. Did they not? Their receivers played great last night. They were open. They're quick. I didn't realize that the running back is going to be good too. He's got a lot more weapons than I thought. They look good. You got to be honest. They look good yesterday.
Dak Prescott is so underrated, and everybody wants to pick on him. No. I'm not speaking about you. I have heard many different Cowboy fans tell me that he stinks, get rid of him, he's a loser, blah, 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 blah. And then Dak Prescott shows up on prime time and beats the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. Okay?
They're better than Pittsburgh. They're better.
It doesn't matter. You think they're better, not everybody.
Oh,
I mean, did you see?
Don't you think they're better?
I like Dak Prescott. So my answer to it.
Don't you think that?
I don't know. I don't know. I think Pittsburgh has a better defense.
Will even be there by the end.
I think Pittsburgh has a better defense. I think Pittsburgh has. George Pickens. George Pickens is a pretty good player.
He's all right.
They have a good running game.
He's on my. Hey, speaking of fantasy, dude, Flowers has been great this year, except for 1 week for me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, I have him on my fantasy team. He has
17 points, 16 points.
This week, yeah, he saw the ball 10 or 11
times. No, he only had one bad week. The week before, but that's because Henry ran the ball like crazy. Dude, offensively, I don't know what you're talking about, but Baltimore looks great offensively. It's defensively where they're weak. They've been playing great offensively because they have a running game now. And Bateman's been playing well. You know what I mean? That's the only reason that Flowers, they could go to more, but they're just pounding the ball. Because they can. I think they're very well balanced offensively this year for the first time. Lamar's played great. Lamar's going to get the MVP.
Zay Flowers in 5 games has 269 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Okay.
That's not good.
Yeah, but they've been pounding the ball.
I'm just saying that's not good. You can say he's doing great.
I know,
in 5 games, that's not good.
Done well.
I mean, if you ask me right now, hold on. Fish, do you think in 5 games, I'm just asking you, Fish, because you play fantasy, and just naturally when you look at these numbers, in 5 games, 269 yards and 1 touchdown, do you think he's playing well?
Because of one game he had a bad
Flex
time.
said, I'm sorry. I didn't realize my name was
Good.
Keith.
No, go ahead.
It's-
Say yes or no.
No, he's not doing well.
Four
He's
games,
not getting
369,
points.
They ran the ball the whole game. So that's how you have to look at
No,
it.
but what I'm saying, and he said no, he's not happy. When you look at 269 and
I
one
don't care what
touchdown,
Fish says. I don't care what Fish says. He's no expert.
No, what I'm saying, Keith, and I'm just
And you
asking-
are?
and he says you are.
Hey, Fish, just like you said, you boys all said that the Yankees don't match out well with the Royals. All they had to do is win one of these two games because when they go to Kansas City, they're better on the road.
Okay, Keith, we'll see if they win.
Yeah, we will see.
We'll see if they win.
We
Then you
will.
can come out there and brag if they win this series.
No.
And if they
forget.
don't-
you can't wait.
If
for
they
my face
don't-
to go.
If they don't win, you know who's going to be sticking it to you.
Yeah, all of you.
That's you know who's going to be sticking it to you because they're-
Believe me better when I talk to you three because it's 1 against 3. And
oh
believe me,
stop,
I'll be
oh
Keith,
stop.
They're gonna
Keith,
make it.
I get my revenge in graphics, Keith. I'm
would
not
you
going
like,
to say anything to you.
What do
He,
you say?
he gets his revenge in graphics.
You got to put your 3 in outer space because you were all dead wrong on that.
What? Dead wrong about what? The Yankees?
About Kansas City not matching.
Well, we
Yankees.
don't know
never
what's
said
going to
that.
happen in
They
the
won
series.
one game by 1 run.
And
We'll see.
honestly,
Listen.
they didn't play well in that game either.
No,
the
they played
Yankees.
horrible. Both teams did. The National League is so much better than the American League. It's not even funny.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter when it comes
No,
down
it
to it.
doesn't.
It doesn't.
No, we got to make it. But they are. Those 4
As
teams
of
are
right now,
quality.
the National League looks much better than the American League. Right now.
They are. They are better.
Right now.
Mets, Phillies,
Right now, but that
Yankees.
doesn't mean anything.
They are better. Cleveland, how about that? Detroit today, that was a huge win. We want that to go as long as possible.
You
Yankees
make it
versus
seem like the
second.
Yankees won already. Come on, stop.
Oh, they're going to win. They're definitely going to win.
Stop
I'm not
with
even worried about
this. Stop.
it. We'll see. We'll see.
Stop. They're going to win. They're going to win.
Yankees are 4.
I'm a Yankee
not
fan,
three.
and I don't think it's a sure thing. I can't bet on that. I'm not
you
going to
actually
bet.
thought they were going to lose.
Yeah, I still think they're going to lose this series.
You're out
So
of
far,
your
they've
mind.
won 1 game by 1 run.
I still think they're
It
going to
doesn't
lose this
matter.
series.
Wait a second. Who gives a shit how many runs to win by?
But here's the thing, Keith. And again, I'm going to go back and look at it. Right now, the Yankees have man on first and second with 2 outs.
Yeah, Stan didn't judge strikeout as though. He said they're fucked.
Well, hold
There
on.
we go.
Nope.
There we go.
Oh, look, there he
One
goes.
of the
There he
bitches.
goes. There he
One
goes.
of the
There he
bitches.
goes. Oh, look at
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
You
there
just said
you
he was going to
go.
strike out, you little
There
baby.
go.
You little
You did
baby.
too.
You
What were
little
you just gonna
baby.
say?
Stop
What were you
crying.
just gonna say?
Stop crying.
I'm not crying.
Hey,
You're the one saying they're going to
Stop
lose, not
crying.
me.
Yeah, I still think they're going to lose. I still
Yeah,
think they're
you're
going
a
to lose this
horrible
series.
fan.
I'm a
You're a
horrible.
horrible
I'm
fan.
an honest
All 'cause
fan.
the Jets did it to you.
Oh, the Jets?
You're
What?
not a realistic
Stop.
fan when it comes to the Yankees.
Oh,
buddy.
stop.
You're not.
Keith, come on.
They're
stop.
the best team by far with Kansas City. They own the American League Central, have for years. We'll see. I'll talk to you later.
I love
Have a good show, boys.
Keep listening
I
to the
love
show.
you guys, too. I
Keep
do. It's
listening
all
to the
fun,
show.
buddy.
Yes. All right. Keith Rooney. I love him. He's out of his mind.
Our next guest,
He's out of his mind.
our next guest is laughing too because he knows it's very true.
But-
By the way,
but-
he was actually at game 1 as well. He's a Royals fan. He was at game 1 as well.
Listen, there's no guarantees the Yankees are going to win this series. And I told everybody before the playoffs started, the team I do not want to play in the playoffs is the Kansas City Royals. I said it, and I still believe it. Why? Because the Yankees are up 1-0. And by the way, they barely won game 1. I was DJing Saturday night. I was DJing a 60th birthday party. And by the way, these people know how to party. Shout out to, I'm not going to mention any names because I don't do that. But that family was crazy. They were going crazy. Half these old women were coming up. They probably would have slept with me in the back room. I don't know. They were crazy. They were nuts. But I'm happy they had a good time, by the way. But I was watching the Yankee game. I was happy. I was pissed. I was happy. I was pissed. The Yankees just make me want to bite my nails. I cannot watch the New York Yankees. I cannot. I'm a realist. I'm a real Yankee fan. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this is a shoo-in. We're going to kick the Royals' ass. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking to Savannah Bananas co-head coach, our friend, Adam Virant.
This is the Sports.
631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy. Remember, you can listen to our show every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Well, 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. I forgot this isn't the Weekend Crunch, but that's what it felt like on 103.9 FM. That was my whole, spiel over there. But hey, you know what? I'm a little lost. I had a long weekend, but I gotta say, we love this guy. He's been on our show before, and he's doing great things with Savannah Bananas. And by the way, there was just a post that I saw on ESPN, I think a week ago, that they're going to be at like 15 new stadiums or something of that magnitude. It's pretty remarkable what they're doing. We are now talking to Savannah Bananas co-head coach, Adam Virant. Adam, what's up, buddy?
Hey guys, how you doing, man? So glad to be here, and you guys are killing me. There's no greater pastime than men arguing over sports. There really isn't. Like, I mean, politics aside, this is the second greatest waste of human life is arguing over sports. There'll never be a resolution to any of this stuff. So happy to be here with you.
It's crazy because you're a Royals fan. I'm a Yankee fan, and I'm a realist. And a lot of Yankee fans say I'm not a real Yankee fan, just like a lot of Jet fans say I'm not a real Jet fan because I speak the truth and I'm just laying it down on the line. I'm not gonna sit there as a fan and say, oh, the Jets are gonna be okay. They lose a big game against Minnesota in London, where I think they're the better team. They're playing their old quarterback in Sam Darnold. He didn't have such a great game, and they still. By the way, Kansas City hits a home run. Perez, who kills the Yankees. The guy that kills the Yankees every single time they play the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. So just for, where are you, Keith? Anyways, but I'm a realist. I'm a real Yankee fan. I'm a real Jet fan. And unfortunately, I just don't think on paper, as good as the Yankees are, it means they're just going to run away with this not a divisional game. So it's a lot to get into. So you were at game number 1. What was it like being in Yankee Stadium in front of all those crazy Yankee fans?
Yeah, I mean, Yankee Stadium is great. They got the rabid fans, as you know, just living and dying on every single call. The electricity was amazing. I didn't dare wear any Royals gear there because, I wanted to leave intact, but that game was electric. I mean, I think if Yankees fans thought that they were going to roll through the Royals, they really learned a lesson that this ain't going to be an easy task. I mean, that game was very, very tight. The Royals bullpen, which has been stellar all year round, they failed them, right? Like, they had 4 walks. Totally uncharacteristic. And, had that not happened, listen, everybody's talking about Jazz Chisholm at second base. Maybe gets called out. Maybe Bobby Witt gets ball 4 called on him. Doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that Yankees, it's no easy task in by the Royals. I mean, geez, like Jose Trevino's a good friend of mine. And he's like, Salvi, if we can control Salvi, we're in good stead. And, Salvi just goes and hits home run. I mean, that guy's been around the game forever, and he's only, 32, 33 years old? Yeah. It's not a walk in the park.
Still dominating against New York teams in the postseason. I'm a Mets fan. I remember him winning World Series MVP when they played him then. So I just want to ask you from the whole season perspective with the Royals, and also in terms of a game planning for the rest of this series, like what are the biggest keys for the Royals in order to upset the Yankees built for a 5-game series strategically?
Yeah, I think it's getting to the bullpen that was reliable and holding it down. They definitely need, Bobby Witt to get that big AB, but the Royals surprisingly are pretty balanced top to bottom. They don't have the Aaron Judges or the Sotos that, are going to kind of carry the day for them. They're just going to keep the line moving. And so, keep having good at bats, but that bullpen really needs to show up for them. And that's kind of what failed them. So we'll see what happens tonight.
We are talking to Savannah Bananas co-head coach Adam Virant. And by the way, another single, no outs right now. Rodon is in trouble, and usually now he's throwing a wild pitch. This is where everything starts to the downfall starts to happen for the Yankees. So for all you Yankee fans that thought this was going to just be a runaway win, that doesn't usually happen. But what you've seen so far in the playoffs, and it's crazy what the Mets have done. The Mets beat the Milwaukee Brewers. They were down by 2-0 going into the bottom of the top of the ninth. Then they get 2 guys on base. They get a 3-run home run. Pete Alonso, gets that 3-run shot, and then they win the game 4-2, knock off Milwaukee. And then they win game 1 against Philadelphia with Zach Wheeler pitching a stellar game. Was unbelievable. Was at the top of his game. And then they lose in the last two innings. The Philadelphia Phillies completely deployed and just fell apart. And then the Mets in game number 2, they were up by a significant amount going into the 7th, 8th inning, and then they fell apart. So what do you think is going on right now with each bullpen right now in the National League and the American League?
I think these teams are so damn good. They really are. I mean, the Mets are hot, and that's the key to having success in the postseason. I think, you have these wild card teams that get hot and they kind of roll, and the Mets just don't, they know they can't be beat. Like, they know they're always in a game. And so that's really tough when you have a clubhouse that just doesn't care about the score and they just kind of keep grinding it out. It's the same thing with the Phillies. I mean, this series between the Mets and the Phillies is going to be epic. It's going to be a heavyweight fight back and forth because both teams truly believe that if we have an out left in the game, we can still win this game no matter how far we're down. So, I mean, so Mets Phillies is going to be fantastic. The Royals Yankees, listen, I hope it's a good one. How about the Padres Dodgers? I mean, geez, if there's not blood spilled in that playoff game, I think I'll be amazed. But that's another heavyweight battle, right? Like, the Padres got the best of them, but we know the Dodgers, Ohtani and Betts, these teams are so good. I think the only shoe-in is going to be the Guardians getting by the Tigers. I think the Tigers are kind of outshot their wad there, but dude, it's this postseason's excellent. I really, really enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I think they hit Class A too. So you're seeing a lot of these other top relievers even really struggle.
But Class A was hit last year too. I mean, yes, he's an unbelievable, regular season relief pitcher, but in the playoffs, teams figure him out. Nobody's Mariano Rivera. It's very hard to mimic one of the greatest pitchers of all time, the greatest relief pitcher of all time. When people were trying to compare him throughout the season, he's got Mariano Rivera numbers. Okay, he's got Mariano Rivera numbers in the regular season. Let's see what he could do in the playoffs. Mariano Rivera's ERA in the playoffs was under 1. I mean, it's not easy to do that when the pressure's on you and you're playing against the best hitting. So in all of baseball. So,
and that leads me to my question. Like, you're seeing a lot of top relievers struggle. Like, he was talking about Devin Williams was the guy who allowed the home run to Pete Alonso. You got Josh Hader, who struggled in the past in the postseason, allowing the home run to Bryce Harper and a bunch of other times. Do you think that kind of act is going to die out, like the pure closer, these pure top relievers? With you even seeing Edwin Diaz using the 7th inning.
Yeah. I don't know if we're ever going to see another Mariano. Like, the big leaguers that I've met who faced Mariano said that hitting big league pitching is tough enough, but Mariano had this ball where you thought it was going to be here, and then it was 6 inches in or away, and it was breaking your bat. And they just could not hit him. And, there's been pitchers that have crazy movement like that, but consistently, and to your point, Errol, like, dude, he never faltered in the postseason. He got better. He got better. And I mean, who's another guy like Trevor Hoffman's of the world, right? He was like probably the next greatest closer type, and he was nowhere Mariano-like. So I just don't know if that guy's out there. I think like closers are being used differently now in the ball in big leagues. Like Ursig for the Royals, they brought him in the 8th inning to ride him because it's the top of the lineup. I don't know, man. I mean, he was a 1%er of 1%er of Hall of Famers. I don't know if we're going to see another one.
I met Trevor Hoffman during the summer. Speedy knows that. We went to a card show and we did an interview with Trevor Hoffman. And by the way, it's now 2-1 single. So there you go. The Yankees are down 2-1.
Mets legend Tommy Pham.
This is what happens, man. And it's the 4th inning. And again, when Rodon he falls apart. He falls apart. This is not something new that you're watching right now. Carlos Rodon, all season long, he looks good, he looks bad. He looks good, he looks bad. And then when things start to falter, he looks horrible. So I expect the Yankees to pull him in the next. I think if he gives up another 2 hits, he's done. They're not going to keep him in this game. So, but anyways, you know, it's interesting when we watch the playoffs and we compare certain players to certain players from the past. And I want to bring up a player that just passed away, and a guy that was mistreated. And you know who I'm talking about, Speedy. You know who I'm talking about?
Mr. Rose.
Yes. And obviously the things that were going on with Ohtani and Pete Rose obviously never really got a chance to see himself go into Cooperstown and get a chance to see his, you know, see everything that he's done, all his achievements of as a major league player, one of the greatest, if not the greatest hitter to ever play professional baseball. And then you see, obviously, he passes away at 82, 83 years old. And now some people say that the major leagues, MLB, is going to put him in the Hall of Fame probably in the next few years. Do you believe, and I'm asking you an honest opinion because you've been around this game for a very, very long time. Do you believe that even though Rose bet on baseball, do you believe that he should have been inducted into the Hall of Fame earlier in his career than now, where he's never going to get an opportunity to see himself go to the Hall of Fame?
The Hall of Fame is the purpose of the Hall of Fame is to tell the history of baseball, and the history of baseball. There's a lot of blood in the water. There just is, and especially if you scratch deep enough below the surface. Pete Rose, one of the greatest hitters of all time, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Did he screw up? Absolutely. Did a lot of guys screw up? Steroid era, all the way back in the day, shoeless Joe Jackson and all the nonsense that was going on. That is the history of baseball. You know, part of the history of baseball by putting Pete in the Hall of Fame could be telling what he also did wrong, right? So much about learning and living and redemption is, hey, this guy screwed up, but we can't take away his achievements and what he meant to the game of baseball during that time period. And quite frankly, you know, in the legends of Major League Baseball. So, you know, I the sports writers and the Hall of Fame voters, it's always just kind of a very mercurial bunch on like what they think and what they don't think. I mean, when you have guys like David Justice getting first pick ballots to go in the Hall of Fame, it's like, what are we talking about, guys? And we, you know, Pete Rose and these guys who are legitimate legends are just like being, you know, judged. And so I truly believe, I never saw him play, but I'm all about, you know, my kids and my grandkids learning everything about the history of baseball. And Pete firmly belongs in the Hall of Fame without a doubt.
Yeah, we were discussing the steroid thing last time, but I want to just do the whole controversy element of baseball, which has a very controversial history as it is. Obviously, starting with the Black Sox in 1918, that whole scandal. Yet some of those guys are in the Hall of Fame, and the Spitballs and all the other stuff. So, like, do you think they're just a hypocritical like league, and maybe just like you're saying, the Hall of Fame committee as a whole just is selective?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. I think there's a lot of politics that go into it, a lot of outcry from a public standpoint. You know, from a human standpoint, nobody likes to feel like they got cheated. And so, you know, public opinion really matters to these voters. And so I think that they like to try to be the voice of the public. You know, hypocritical, I don't know. I think that's an individual thing. But, you know, baseball, let's not forget, baseball in its history didn't allow, you know, African Americans to play. Right. So, you know, right from the genesis, the beginning of baseball, there was some really just kind of like behavior that we wouldn't stand for today. Right. And we don't. And we've changed and we've healed and we've corrected some of those mistakes. Did Pete bet on baseball and was that against the rules? Absolutely. Is there a lot of other stuff that has happened that allowed guys to get in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely. But did it affect his ability to produce on the field? Did it affect his records? Not a shot, man. I mean, there's a stronger argument to say that the steroid guys shouldn't get in because they definitely affected what these records are and what these records really mean. Pete screwed up. He was doing what a lot of guys were doing, right? And he was an idiot. He screwed up, but it does not take away from his achievements. And so, hypocritical, I don't know, man. I just know that humans make decisions for a lot of the wrong reasons. And I think one of the wrong reasons that they've made was decisions they made was not putting Pete in there when he was alive. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, by the way, the Yankees are down 3-1 now. So there you go. Now everything's starting to fall apart for the Yankees. And again, Rodon sucks. But guess what? I told you. And now Aaron Boone has to decide. Are you taking him out? I know there's 2 outs left, but this is what happens with Rodon. When Rodon starts to give up runs, now he's taking him out. Finally, taking him out. He just stinks. He just absolutely stinks.
Keith, that puts the run differential at Royals +1.
He just stinks. He just, when he starts to fall apart, he falls apart. But anyways, we are talking to Savannah Bananas co-head coach Adam Virant. So why don't we get into the Savannah Bananas? There was a story that came out recently on ESPN that you guys in your new 2025 season that you're going to play in 18 Major League Baseball stadiums and 3 football stadiums across 40 cities and 25 states. First of all, who sets up your tour? And it's pretty amazing what you guys are doing right now. How did this come about on this tour that you're going to be doing in 2025?
Well, it all starts with Jesse Cole and his vision and wanting to reach more fans and branch out. A lot of the credit goes to Patrick Briotti, our director of World Tour. He's in all those conversations with the executives and the presidents of the clubs, and it really comes down to just taking our show, taking the game to areas where we've never been. So we've never been to the Pacific Northwest. We're able to go to Seattle, right? We've hit the Midwest, but we're going to hit a little bit harder with Kansas City and Chicago. So it really comes down to, hey, where have we not been? Where do we want to go? And more importantly, who's going to work with us? This is a two-way street. This isn't just Metallica coming in because we want to play this big venue. It's communities, it's cities, it's major league ballparks and executives who want the Bananas there, and they want to provide this for their city and their community. So, there's definitely a lot of people at play here, but Jesse has the vision, Patrick has the vision, and hats off to a lot of these executives that are taking a chance on us, because this past year we played in 6 major league stadiums. I know that there was, a lot of anxiety amongst those executives about, could we pull it off? Were we going to be able to pack the place? Were we going to live up to this hype? And we have, all these stadiums that we've been to, the major league stadiums, we're about ready to go to our 6th one and final one in Miami. We've packed the house. They show up early, they stay late. We break records on food and beverage, and we put on a great show, and it's a positive experience. So next year, we're playing in 18 Major League ballparks, 2 NFL stadiums, and 1 college football stadium, Clemson University, 80,000 fans.
Wow. So any new features and or new experiences you're the Bananas introduced this year that the last time you were on the show, maybe they didn't implement right away? Anything new that's going on with that?
We had the new rule. I don't know if we announced it when I was on with last time, but it was the golden batter rule, which is the Mike Trout Ohtani rule, where you have one batter can bat anytime in the lineup for anybody at any time. And
I don't think so. I don't think you announced that one last time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We watched the World Baseball Classic and how when Ohtani faced Mike Trout there at the end there, and it was just I think 99% of the TVs in Japan were watching, and I mean I was watching. I think it was one of the most exciting at bats I've ever seen, and we said, you know what, we want to do this. We implemented the golden batter rule. We use it. We see it a lot of times in the most high leverage inning, which is the final inning where every run counts as a point. That's really the newest rule. There's not going to be any new rules announced for next year, but we did announce a new team. We have our 4th team. I don't know if you saw that, but the Texas Tailgaters are going to be joining us next year, man. That's going to be a whole new experience, and that's going to be amazing for the state of Texas to kind of latch onto and make them America's team.
Adam, you look at all the different rules that you have for your game, and I love it. I watched a couple of things on YouTube, the dancing and all these different things that you guys do on the field. You even had a Backstreet Boy at one of your events. He was pretty funny too. Brian, I think it was, and he was dancing and he was singing and all that other stuff. Yeah. How do you guys set up, how these games, it's kind of like, am I wrong? Is it like the WWE? Like it's all planned? How does this work?
The only thing that's playing is the entertainment. We'll get some guest appearances, former MLB guys, Brian Luttrell, Backstreet guy, Backstreet Boy, and that's all scripted because we need to script that entertainment. The baseball is 100% legit. That Tim Kirchin said last year, if the baseball is not good, this whole thing doesn't work. And we're lucky to have super high talented players that are constantly pushing the pace on trick plays, constantly trying to get faster and better and put on a show for these fans. And, at the end of the day, legitimate baseball guys, we want them to really love coming to games. And if that baseball is not good, if it's not real, they're going to see right through it. And quite frankly, I wouldn't be a part of it. Eric Byrnes wouldn't be a part of it. Roger Clemens wouldn't be a part of it. But they are. And, but the entertainment piece, that's for the fans who are not all in on baseball or banana ball, and they want to kind of be distracted. And we put on a pretty damn good show. It's pretty fun, man. And next year is going to be even bigger with these bigger stadiums. We got double the amount of people to entertain. I don't know how we're going to pull it off, but our entertainment team is second to none, and they're going to pull it off. I know that.
You're already going to get a better audience there than the Marlins do at their games at the rate they're going at right now. All the dysfunction they've had. Yeah, so I just for all the fans that haven't followed the team, like some of the notable ex-major league players that you've had in your league, either this year or even in years past.
Yeah, we've had so Jake Peavy was the first one who jumped on board with us 4 years ago, and he's really been the catalyst and a big carrying our flag. And it's just all kind of spiraled from there. Eric Byrnes coached with us. We had I mentioned Roger Clemens, Roy Oswalt, Reddick. We had joined us. We had in Philly. We just had Victorino and Ryan Howard and Jamie Moyer and Blanton and just Jamie. Who else we have? Johnny Damon. We've had these amazing people on and on. And the cool thing is seeing these guys come out and act like little kids, but more importantly, the standing O's, the kind of just the appreciation that the hometown crowd provides to these guys. Jason Kipnis joined us in Cleveland. And Jason played his entire career with Cleveland, except for his final year with Chicago. Happened to be the COVID year. So when he returned back to Cleveland, it was empty. He didn't get that kind of hometown recognition. Then he plays with the Bananas. Packed house. Jason Kipnis comes to bat. Standing O, good minute and a half. Tips his hat. He gets a base hit, comes off the field, and he's like shaking. He's like, that is literally the coolest thing I've ever experienced on a baseball field. This is Jason Kipnis, man. And the coolest thing he ever experienced was getting a base hit in a Bananas uniform, but it's mostly that standing O. So that's really what bringing these special guests back for these big league crowds is to surprise the fans, to give them a unforgettable moment, but also pay homage to the greatness that these guys, gave their heart and soul to these fan bases and really just send them out with an unforgettable moment. We don't announce any of these special guests.
Wow.
It's truly a surprise. And a lot of times our players don't even know what's happening. Ryan Howard was the golden batter in Philly. There was probably about 4 people in that entire crowd who knew that Ryan Howard was coming in. And when he took off that gold cape and they announced him, the crowd, I mean, it was shaking. I've never experienced that in my life. And next year is going to be really special because I think we're going to get the major league stadiums, the major league clubs to, really lean in and say, who do you want to recognize? Who's special in your history that you want this for? And, I already know I'm eyeing Ichiro, man. I'm hoping that Suzuki comes out there and gets in that bat out in Seattle, man.
Ichiro Suzuki. We are talking to Savannah Bananas co-head coach Adam Virant. He's been on our show before. We love him. He's doing big things right now with the Savannah Bananas. They're all over the place now. They're becoming stars, not only here in the United States, but they're being recognized all over the world. It's so interesting. You were mentioning some of the great people that you have working with you, ex-major league players and movie stars, singers. Everybody's getting involved. Is there a particular artist or movie star or besides a player, because we heard that you want to see Ichiro, but is there anybody that you would love to see at one of your events show up and actually play baseball on the baseball field with your Savannah Bananas?
Yeah, I've been asked this question before, and I'm an older guy, so I'd love to see Kevin Costner come out and do it. I'd love to see Matthew McConaughey come on out and do something. Honestly, like, anybody that wants to come out, let's do it. But it's got to be based on that city, and that's the biggest thing. Like John Cena came out in Tampa for us, and I think he's a Tampa guy, and that was really a really cool thing. They have to be able to feel confident in their abilities that they're going to get in and have to face a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. Cena faced Brett Helton, who was throwing 92 miles per hour with a nice little cut action. Didn't really stand a chance, and that's not great. But yeah, man, I'd like to see some of these old timers come out there and do it, and I'd love to see McConaughey out there. So when we go back to Minute Maid, maybe he comes down. George Brett, I'm really from a non actor standpoint, I'm trying to get George Brett out to the Kansas City Kauffman Stadium.
He's at the game right now.
Is he in the Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, they've been popping. They've been pointing at him quite a few times. I don't know if that's his wife or his daughter.
Could be either, right? I want to recreate the whole Pine Tar incident game situation with him, which happened at Yankee Stadium on my birthday in 1984.
I remember that.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
Legend. Absolutely.
I love, first of all, Robin Yount, George Brett. I mean, I loved watching those guys play in the 80s. I was a young kid. I was like 5, 6 years old. My first sport that I really just fell in love with was baseball. And I was a Yankee fan, but I couldn't stand George Brett because he always killed the Yankees. And Robin Yount, when he played for the Brewers, I mean, he was unbelievable player. So I mean, those are the guys that really stood out to me when I was a kid, and Don Mattingly, because I was a big Donnie baseball fan. So, but it's with all the things that you're doing, you and your partner, and just who what you guys are standing for right now, not only for baseball but entertainment. Everything is starting. Everybody's trying to bring in this new entertainment scheme, and I'm not saying you guys, but, basketball, 3-on-3 tournament. You see what they're doing right now with Ice Cube, and now they're getting all these old NBA players, Allen Iverson. They're all competing, Tracy McGrady. When you see these things and the different ways that they're trying to promote the sports, what makes your sport and what you guys are doing stand out from all the other entertainment organizations and ex-professional sports and athletes trying to bring a different vibe to their game? What makes you guys different from all the rest?
I think what makes us different is our focus on the fans, and every decision that we make, we ask, is this best for the fans? And then we walk the walk, and we talked it. And that, like, honestly, from walking through, and high-fiving all the fans who line up to get in the game, and signing autographs before, during, and after the game, creating rules specific for the fan experience. We have a 2-hour time limit, and that's just not so we can get out of town. That's because that's kind of the bandwidth that people have to come to a ball game. And so fan catching a foul ball and all the entertainment pieces, literally there's so many things that we do. Everything we do is for the fans, and I think the fans appreciate that. At the end of the day, NBA, MLB, NFL, we're all in the entertainment business. We just lean into it a little bit more, right? Like, we're not competing with MLB. They're the greatest players in the entire world.
Right.
And I love watching the greatest players compete against the other greats. However, there's a miss on all these major sports, and they end up throwing money at the problems and trying to fix it, right? Like the 3-on-3 thing with the NBA.
Yes. Yep.
They have more money than God. And getting Allen Iverson, yeah, that's a new thing, and that's kind of like a pet project. It's kind of like Google X, Google having like, hey, let's make flying cars and let's make these things, and it's not their primary product, right? It's just kind of a fun passion project. For us, this is everything. Banana Ball is what we do. And what is Banana Ball? It's bringing joy, happiness, competition, fun back to this sport. I love baseball. I love it. But for this younger generation, they've either never learned to love it like we have, or they are distracted by other things, video games, skateboarding, TikTok, whatever it may be.
Fantasy, money, making money.
Absolutely. They're distracted by these other things. And unfortunately, they're not able to learn and love the game, the nuances of the game that we all know. So Banana Ball is bringing kids back to the game. And hopefully it's keeping kids in the game a little bit longer because it's a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more fast paced. But certainly our live shows, it's bringing families to the ballpark. Again, if you look around, youth participation in baseball has dropped 20% over the past 5 years. That's hundreds of thousands of kids who just decided, I don't want to play anymore. Why is that? Well, golf and tennis are up 30%. It's a lot more fun. It's individualized. They're not getting yelled at by coaches. They're not getting yelled at by umpires. Less stress, right? Banana Ball, there's no yelling. There's no arguing. Sure, it's competitive. Sure, our guys get heated. But we just did our first Banana Ball youth tournament in Cleveland this past year. And the organization that helped run it with us, Athletic Sports Group, they said, we've never run a more smooth tournament. There was no arguing. We didn't have to call the cops on any parents. We didn't have to eject players or coaches or any parents because kids were just having fun. The game was given back to the kids. And I think that's part of what we do such a good job of is we make a game that is fun. We literally engineered a game that we want our professional athletes to have the most fun playing on a field that they've ever had before. And that's going to trickle down to the kids, and that's going to feed everything. It's going to feed them wanting mom and dad to take them to the game. It's going to feed them playing baseball a little bit more. It's going to feed them paying a little bit more attention and engaging with us. And when you have that kind of flywheel going, the sky's the limit here, but at the end of the day, it starts and it ends with the fan. What is best for the fans? We try to keep prices as low as possible. We try to keep things in check. And at the end of the day, we just want to spread joy and happiness for all our fans, man. And I think we're doing that. I think we're doing a pretty good job of it.
Well, I just want to let you know something. We the last time we spoke to you, we were definitely talking about coming to your event. Let's plan something. Speedy will reach out to you in the middle of the beginning of the season, and let's go over. Let's plan something. I would love to go over there and interview some of the guys and have a little bit of fun with your guys. I've watched a bunch of stuff on YouTube. You guys are hilarious, and you got a lot of personalities on the baseball field, and it's very unique. It's something I've never got to experience it, but I had a friend that actually had a chance to experience you guys, and he says not only are you guys fun, but you guys play the game hard. And that's something, like you were saying, it's all about putting a good product out there and entertaining the fans, and that's what you guys do. So I want to experience it, and I want to go over there, and I want to hang out with you guys. I think it'll be cool, and seeing what all the work that you guys have put into it over the years and really growing a product that is becoming a world-renowned product, not only just here in the States, but all over the world. I mean, Japan, I know in Japan, they've heard of you guys. Everybody. I have a friend that lives in Australia that's heard of the Savannah Bananas. So it's crazy. It is really crazy what you guys are doing, and you're only going to get bigger.
It's we played in front of 1 million live fans, and thanks for your kind words. I mean, that means everything. We just don't want the teeny bopper TikTok kind of followers to embrace us. We want the legitimate sports baseball folks to embrace us. And we played in front of 1 million fans this year. We're going to play in front of 2 million fans next year. We'll be at Yankee Stadium September 13th and 14th. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that there's a better place for us to meet up and
absolutely
get to experience firsthand and kind of meet some of our guys. But yeah, man, we're fired up and we do have those personalities. It's hard to get a good, legitimate baseball guy to really buy in, and it starts with their character, and it starts with their personality, and it starts with their just kind of compassion towards each other and the fans. And we have 55 guys on the two teams between the Party Animals and Bananas who are just absolute, just fantastic humans. I can't wait for you to meet them all.
Well, we can't wait to meet you in person and all the guys. And we really appreciate the time. And by the way, you deserve all the kind words because of all the work and dedication that you put into the game of baseball, the love and compassion, and all the guys that, have helped build this to an absolutely sensational game. And baseball needs something like this because there are so many ups and downs that we've seen over the last couple of years. The steroid situation, how it was handled, and now there's this Ohtani betting thing where everybody just, to me, baseball just likes to brush things under the rug instead of being, hit it head on. I think this is a big problem with a lot of these professional sports, and with the CTE thing with Roger Goodell and not doing the right thing behind it. Now all of a sudden doing the right thing behind it. I just think that's what these leagues need. They need things, leagues and entertainment like this that's going to kind of bring a different view to the entertainment part. But you're fantastic. Everything that you guys are doing, I love it. And Speedy will reach out to you. Let's plan something at Yankee Stadium, September 13th, 14th. I'll be there, man. Absolutely. We'll all be there. We'd love to meet you guys and hang out with you guys on the 13th and 14th.
Let's do it. And a little update for everybody listening in: 4-1 Royals.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for pissing me off even more.
There you go. Run differential goes up to +2 now.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for having me on, and reach out if you need anything. And
absolutely,
you guys keep fighting the good fight over there, man. And
thank you, man.
But we'll see you in Yankee Stadium next year.
We will definitely see you, and you keep up doing what you're doing, man, and keep building this, because I think it's just amazing what you're doing, and it's remarkable where you guys came from and what you guys started with, and now playing in front of millions and millions of people, and it's only going to get bigger. So, Adam, we will talk to you soon. Speedy will reach out to you, and like I said, I'm looking forward to meeting all of you.
Speedy, Errol, take care, guys.
Adam Virant, ladies and gentlemen, Savannah Bananas, fantastic, great personality, such a good guy, kind soul. The last time we had him on, we had two guys. It was
it was him and Michael McHenry. Yeah,
McHenry, and they were fantastic.